Hello and welcome to this research episode of the PJ Pod, brought to you by the Pharmaceutical Journal, the Royal Pharmaceutical Society's official journal. This episode is part of the June 2024 digital edition and comes off the back of the recent announcement of the 2024 Outstanding Pharmacy Early Career Researcher Award, or OPRA. We caught up with the shortlist and this year's winner to learn more about their journeys into research and to hear their advice for pharmacists who may have an interest in research but aren't sure how to take the first step. OPRA is the newest award from the Royal Pharmaceutical Society that recognises the significant contributions of members of the pharmacy profession, including pharmacists and pharmaceutical scientists in the field of research. OPRA is a collaboration between the PJ and Parastou Donyai, the RPS chief scientist. Now in its second year, having been launched in 2023, I wanted to learn more about the award and how it came to be. Here's Parastou.
The OPRA Award was something that had been on my mind for quite some time. And my aims were to encourage pharmacists to engage with their professional leadership body and put themselves forward, or for others to put them forward, if they were already doing research, so to be recognised for the research work that they're doing via the RPS, so via the professional leadership body. But there was a gap, so we didn't have any award as such for aspiring future leaders in research. So the aim was to fill an obvious gap in terms of recognising excellence. I wanted OPRA to enthuse others who are not currently engaging in research to see how other people who are starting out in research have got to where they have in their research careers. So I wanted that kind of role model format for others to be inspired.
And we'll get to some of those stories in a minute. But why is building research capacity in pharmacy so important?
So we will recognise, because it's a fact, that research is fundamental to science, because you can't progress a scientific field without the underpinning research. And so we know that pharmacy is a science-based profession, then there can't be any doubt whatsoever that research is fundamental to pharmacy. And then I guess the question becomes, well, who is going to do that research that's fundamental to pharmacy? Is it going to be medics? Is it going to be social scientists? Is it going to be pharmaceutical science graduates? Is it going to be forensic pharmacologists? Or is it going to be pharmacists? Why can't it be pharmacists?
For many pharmacists, taking the first step into research can be a daunting prospect, and it's important to consider some of the challenges early career researchers may face.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we do need to be mindful that there are actually loads of challenges that early career researchers in pharmacy will face. So, for example, someone with a PhD, how will they progress to their next job? You know, their postdoc work after that, how will they gain an academic role? And then also questions around fairness. So, how does somebody with caring responsibilities compete with others who are freer to devote time to their work, for example, travel to conferences? And then also there's issues around support. So what's the mentorship, supervision and support that's available to researchers? Is it fair that one person joins an established group, whereas another person has to carve out a niche for themselves and by themselves? So those are important considerations.
Despite these challenges, many early career researchers do manage to navigate that landscape against the odds. The PJ caught up with all 5 of this year's shortlisted OPRA nominees to hear their reflections on pharmacy research as a career option and to get their advice for any listeners who may be interested in getting more involved in research but aren't sure how to get going. First, we heard from Ryan McNally, a postdoctoral research associate at St Thomas's Hospital. Ryan's research focuses on personalised medicine approaches for the treatment of hypertension. He told me that whilst there is an underrepresentation of pharmacists in research, he thought that people could use that to their advantage.
Don't be put off by the fact that AHPs are kind of really underrepresented. I think in 2022 it was, or 2021, only one pharmacist, oh no, actually I think it was 0 pharmacists applied for the NHR Advanced Fellowship, which is what I'm hoping to do after the 2 years of this. But please, like, don't be put off by the fact that pharmacists are really underrepresented in clinical research. In fact, I think use that to your advantage, because you can then create a really niche career pathway for yourself and a really niche kind of job that you're almost like indispensable.
We also heard from Zoe Edwards from the University of Bradford. Well, to give you her full title, she is Lead Research Practitioner, Practice Pharmacist, Trainee Advanced Clinical Practitioner at Affinity Care Primary Care Network, Primary Care and Community Clinical Research Associate Lead for Pharmacy within NIHR Yorkshire and Humber Clinical Research Network, and Honorary Senior Research Fellow at University of Bradford. And just take a moment to reflect on Zoe's job title, because it tells its own story about how becoming active in pharmacy research will make you extremely busy, but also presents great opportunities to develop portfolio careers. Zoe's role involves wearing multiple hats, dividing her time between her work in primary care and the NIHR Clinical Research Network while retaining strong connections with Bradford University. Hearing all that, you might think that Zoe's been doing research straight after graduating, but in fact her route into research wasn't exactly typical. She made the jump into academia after years working as a community pharmacist.
It was a scary place to go at first, because I'd gone from working in community pharmacy for 15 years to this world of research with so many acronyms, and I didn't know what anyone was talking about. But it didn't take me long, and I had really, really good mentorship and support. And then over time, it was me teaching other people those acronyms, and helping other people take those first steps. But I think that's what made me really think that this, it was something that was really worthwhile. That's something that I think if you're doing research that isn't something you're really passionate about, I don't think you're going to get very far. You have to really want to do it and be interested in it and believe in it.
As Zoe was saying, researchers need to have a passion for their subject if they're going to maintain the effort required to keep things going, but they also need to ask the right questions. And that's why Sion Scott, this year's opera winner, says we need more experienced clinicians getting involved in research. Sion's a lecturer in behavioural medicine at the University of Leicester, and he uses his expertise as both a pharmacist and a behavioural scientist to understand the behaviour changes needed by both patients and healthcare staff for routine proactive deprescribing to be integrated into clinical practice.
So, most research active pharmacists are full-time academics, and that's great. But actually, even those of us who do a little bit of practice, we're not necessarily fully embedded in clinical practice. And for me, to do research, you need two things. You need to identify a clinical problem, and you often need to be a clinician to be able to do that. And then you need the research expertise. And so the first thing I would say is, if you're a clinician, then we want you to do research. So kind of hopefully that instills some confidence, and that's what people want to do.
This point was echoed by Zoe, who also highlighted the potential positive impact on patients.
I really like the balance of my clinical work alongside my research, because I think my research is strengthened by my clinical work. If you're seeing patients every day, you know what patients are feeling, and you're constantly in touch with patients. It's like you've got a constant PPI presence, because you're constantly hearing how patients are experiencing their illness, and makes you think constantly about what you could do to try and address the issues that they have.
Next we heard from Anna Robinson-Barella, who is a lecturer in clinical pharmacy at Newcastle University. Anna's research uses qualitative methods to target medicines and health inequalities. Anna told us more about the opportunities that arise from being involved in both research and patient care.
It's a real privilege, really. I love sitting back and just listening, because people are really happy to share, and we're really lucky that people do share their lived experiences and their views, because that's so important. But in terms of kind of approaches, I guess, from undergraduate, through all my training, I've done loads of lab work, I've done loads of experiments, I've really looked at like the numbers of things, and always really wondered, there's only so much that numbers can tell us. Numbers are great in giving us that great widespread view. great at informing on a mass level, but actually that isn't always the best way that pharmacy works. We really do work on an individualized person level.
She also reflected on some of the qualities that make people suited for a career in research.
If you'd asked me at the very start of my career, even as a student or as a foundation trainee, I wouldn't have necessarily saw myself in the research world. But I think it was just a mixture of on-the-ground experiences, becoming almost a little frustrated at how we can best support people. I'm really cognizant of like the following the policies and the guidelines, but actually I was always curious and thinking, hang on, but what informs that? And actually whenever you ask the question of, but why are we doing it in that way, the answer was always, oh well, like we've always done it that way. And it would always kind of spark something in me to be like, but hang on, I'm really curious, why? And I found myself constantly asking why, and then not really having the time or the capacity to really go into the why and investigate it for myself.
So a curious nature pulled Anna into pharmacy research. Anneka Mitchell is a clinical academic fellow and specialist pharmacist for healthcare for older people at University Hospitals Plymouth NHS Trust, where she works in medicine safety, particularly in relation to direct oral anticoagulants. She found that pursuing a research career actually helped reignite her passion for being a pharmacist.
And I thought, I don't want to be a pharmacist anymore. I don't think I enjoy it. I'll go and do something else. And then around that time, the NIHR opened up funding to pharmacists for doing an MRes, so a research master's. And before, we weren't eligible for it for some reason, because we'd fallen down some gap in between allied health and healthcare scientists. So I thought, oh, well, maybe this is an option. I wanted to do research before. It's not too late. I'll do that now. So luckily I applied and I got the funding, and I did this MRes, and I had the support of just some wonderful people who really got me back into wanting to do research, and I'd essentially given up on it. And they said, well, no, you could, there's opportunities now. You don't have to do one or the other. You could do clinical and research. So I thought, yeah, why not? Then when I finished and I came back, I was like, actually, I'm back into pharmacy. I don't want to quit anymore. So I don't think it's a typical research journey in many ways. I think I did it because I wanted to quit pharmacy, and I've come full circle, and it's reinvigorated my passion for actually seeing the patients and helping the patients.
At this stage, you may be thinking, that's great, but how can I do that? How do I take the first step? Anna had some advice for clinicians that may be in this position, and it all comes down to asking around.
I think my words of wisdom would be, if you know it's something that you're interested in and you are that curious person and you have got that kind of curiosity of asking why and you want to make change, then go speak to people who are doing that job. I think we're not as scary or intimidating, I hope, as what we may appear. I don't know. But, find a person. Like, I always just think if you don't ask, you don't get. So find a person where you kind of really would align yourself to, they might be doing really cool research in a particular field. Get in touch with them and don't be shy. I love it when people contact me about my research with questions or ideas, and it sparks your enthusiasm even more, knowing that other people are feeling the same and wanting to see that change. I really do recognise how challenging it can be, because you don't always get the time or the space or the funding, but just keep going. If you've got that drive, keep doing it, because it'll happen. And maybe you don't plan for it to happen. Like me, I didn't necessarily plan to start doing a PhD, but actually if the opportunity is there, just take it.
One of the first steps can be finding the right mentor. Anneka had some thoughts on this.
Ever since my PhD, she doesn't get paid for this, but she still has regular meetings with me. She's become my research mentor. We meet like every couple of weeks to a month. She's helped me kind of develop my research ideas. She's really helped my confidence, like helped me just putting myself out there. I wouldn't have dreamed of doing something like this before, but she's just like, go for it. You know, she's really got such a positive attitude and just wants me to do so well. I feel like I have to now, because I'm like, you've invested so much time in me. I've got to make you proud, Mum. So yeah, I think she truly, I'm not sure that after my PhD I would have got so far on my own without her just being like, come on, what are we doing next? You know, what are you gonna do now? You can't just stop. I know it's hard, but come on, let's go. Let's apply for these things. And yeah, she's truly been just an absolute, yeah, just instrumental in me getting this far, I think.
Sean also had some advice on seeking out mentorship opportunities.
Pharmacy Research UK is an amazing organisation. It's a charity that was set up solely to support pharmacy to do research. I kind of owe my career to them, to be honest. So I would definitely advocate going looking at PR UK. The other thing they do is they offer mentorship as well. So if you've got an idea, but you've actually got no links to a researcher who you think, I need a bit of mentorship, Pharmacy Research UK will help you find that mentor. They'll match you with someone who's appropriate for the research you want to do. So yeah, I would absolutely advocate going and looking at their and actually, you know, applying for funding from PR UK as well gives you an opportunity to have a go at writing a research proposal.
Zoe touched on the value of accessing help and support when getting started, whether this be a specific funding request or trying to initiate your first project.
You don't have to spend months and months developing it. You need a really little team of mentors that you don't need to ask too much of. And it's really easy to do that application. So I would really encourage other people to do that. But if you're not quite at that stage, to ask for some help, ask for some guidance, go to your local university pharmacy department and see who can help. Just email the university pharmacy department and see which one of the researchers might be able to just give you some advice, or maybe even you could get involved in the medicines optimization group at your local university. And that'll give you ideas of how to kind of become involved in that area and how to, you know, get through any issues that you have.
Another aspect of research that some pharmacists might find daunting is the sheer scale of a research project. But Ryan explained that research comes in many forms, from a multi-year PhD to the quality improvement projects that a lot of pharmacists might already be working on, and they're all worth sharing.
Utilise every connection that you can get, every chance that you get to present, even if it's a small research project, even if it's something that you've done quality improvement or practice improvement. Don't think that anything you've done is too small to present at a conference, because even if it's just a poster presentation, it's a great way to get your research out there. The clinical academics and training conferences, brilliant pharmacists are really underrepresented there. So anything you've done, submit a poster. Usually all posters are accepted because they want to kind of diversify the amount of people that are there.
Sean told us about a project he's involved in that provides people who may not have research experience the opportunity to get exposure to a project.
And so one of the projects that I lead is a clinical trial, and I've pioneered use of the NIHR's Associate Principal Investigator Scheme as part of that project. So this is an opportunity for people who've had no exposure to research before, and actually in pharmacy that's quite a lot of the clinical workforce, to have a go at being a principal investigator by pairing them up with a very senior person in that organisation. So that's often a doctor or somebody who's already done lots of research, to partner with them, have a go at managing a research project locally, and then working with me and my team at the University of Leicester to do that.
He also had advice on some of the resources available for people that are passionate but might not know where to start.
There are lots and lots of projects on the NIHR portfolio at the moment that are looking for people to be principal investigators for. And I would actually say go onto the NIHR National Pharmacy Incubator's website. It's hosted by Pharmacy Research UK. And actually there's lots and lots of information on there about how to get involved in research, including how to be a PI for a local site. And you don't need any qualifications, any research qualifications to do that. All you need to have is passion for research.
The RPS has some good resources for getting started in research. Here's RPS Chief Scientist Parastou again to tell us about the work they're doing in this area.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got the Research Across the Profession working group of the RPS, which is currently finalising its work plan and its strategy going forward to deliver on that. At the moment, the RPS has its research and evaluation guides to help pharmacists get started with some sort of basic know-how. There's also the NIHR e-learning modules that was developed by the RPS, and members can access this. It's actually a set of 9 modules. It's targeted for novice researchers.
The RPS also offers a number of support services to their members to help them in undertaking research and evaluation activities, from one-to-one sessions offering dedicated support and mock interviews for PhD or funding opportunities, to detailed guidance documents and signposting to related training and development opportunities. If you're new to research or hoping to develop your skills further, the RPS can help you. To find out more, visit the RPS website and under Recognition, select Science and Research. If you're not a member, you can join the RPS for the equivalent of just 60p per day. Just search RPS membership to find out more. Anyway, that's the end of the RPS plug. But what about other initiatives that are working to further pharmacy research across the UK? Parastou again.
What we need is a pharmacy research strategy that's developed nationally by those who are external to the RPS, which would then allow us within the RPS to prioritise our work and meet that strategy. Because obviously you've got lots of different groups within the profession and around the profession that are focusing on trying to address the very issue that we've been talking about, which is encouraging and enabling more pharmacists to do research. So I've already mentioned the Pharmacy Research Advisory Group, and that's reporting to David Webb, the Chief Pharmaceutical Officer for England. There's also the Pharmacy NIHR Research Incubator, which is now in its first year, and that's being led by a group at the University of Leicester. There are also other sort of pockets of organisations that are doing work, for example, looking at the courses that are available nationwide to help pharmacists with their research know-how. I mean, I guess there's a whole kind of list of organisations which is really heartening to see.
Finally, I asked Parastou what she would like to see from opera in the future.
Oh, I'm just going to be really honest and say I want to see more variety. Do we recognise how much harder it is for people with caring responsibilities to get ahead in research? Do we recognise that it's not easy to get research done alongside your day job of seeing patients? So, in clinical practice, you might not have the same infrastructure to help you advance your research as you do in academia. So I want us to be able to recognise those differences in the future with the award, and I want to hopefully see more engagement with the award.
What these reflections shared by the opera nominees show us is that pharmacy research always starts with an idea, and that research comes in many different forms. Are you a curious, independent self-starter? Are you always asking the hard questions? Have you identified a clinical problem that you want to try and tackle? Have you completed a quality improvement initiative that might help others? If you find yourself answering yes to any of these questions, then you've already taken the first step towards doing pharmacy research. While there are undoubtedly challenges when it comes to pursuing a pharmacy research career, one thing that struck me from my conversations with the opera nominees was the supportive nature of the research community and how receptive people are to questions and requests for help. As you heard, there are a growing range of programs and initiatives specifically designed to help pharmacists pursue their research ideas. We'll link all of these in the show notes. But for now, our thanks go to Parastou Donyai, Ryan McNally, Zoe Edwards, Sion Scott, Anna Robinson-Barella, and Anneka Mitchell for their contributions to this episode. If you'd like to learn more about their research work, you can read their profile pages on the Opera Hub page on the PJ. A link to this will also be added to the show notes. And finally, thank you, our listeners, for joining us. If you're finding this podcast useful, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, goodbye.